All right, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here this evening. Thanks to everyone who have participated. Sorry, I'm not sure if you can see my face. Can you guys see my face properly? But I believe you can hear me very well, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Loud and
Okay,
clear.
great. All right, great. So tonight it's more of a charge for us. Not really so much of a conversation or presentation. It's a charge. Okay. I know I'm talking to a lot of creatives in the house, and excuse me. So what we really want to talk about tonight is going to be centered around what most of us may have interacted. But before I go ahead with this conversation, I want to say big thank you to Lucky for the amazing work he's doing within the community. I'm quite inspired by his tenacity, his grit, and his love for people, his love for change, his love for transformation, okay? Beyond the fact that there is a book that is written, there is also a love for people. So I really want to give kudos to Lucky, and I really want to say he's one of the great creatives there in Africa today, and I really appreciate. By the way, it's a wonderful book, so we'll talk about the book after now. All right, so let's look at the topic. When I got this topic, how can designers change narratives in the society? You see, the first thing that comes to mind for anyone who is a designer, which also depend on what class or what rung of the ladder you are on, is the graphic designer, right? The guys who is using a tool. Okay. So I'm gonna start the conversation from the word narrative. The world today is built on stories. Our world today is built on stories. So that's the first point I want to make. It's built on stories, from religion to politics to brands. It's just stories. Okay. And for me, I think that it's not really so much of a common thing for people to talk about impact, especially down here in Africa. Okay. Because we deal with a lot, right? We deal with a lot because we are still struggling with the problem of leadership. Down here in Nigeria, we're having a problem of leadership. Okay, and that's why the word impact may not relate to so many. But today I really want to talk about impact. Okay, because there is a quote that I love so much by Carlos Santana. He said something. He said, "There is no greater reward than working from your heart and making a difference in the world." There is no greater reward than working from your heart and making a difference in the world. And there is another quote by Mother Teresa. The woman said, he said, "In this life, we cannot always do great things, but we can do small things with great love." You see, these two quotes, they are very related. And when we talk about narrative, there is a slight difference between narrative and storytelling. That's not the context of the conversation today. But what I want to lift from those two words, which are very much related and intertwined, is opinion. Opinion. How do we change the opinions in the society today? How do we change? I'm trying to break this down. How do we change the things that are not really going right, that can go well? How do we change that as a designer, right? How do we bring into life, into being, the things that the world is yearning for? How do we solve problems? Okay, lasting problems. How do we engrave our name in the sands of time? So, having said that, I want to talk about the design. So you see, like I said, when you see that topic, it looks like we're talking about the designer, but I'm gonna tilt away from that. I'm going to look at a very broader angle. Okay, I'm looking at the wider spectrum of that conversation. So, who is a designer? So today, I want to first of all let you know, just in case that is your thought, that the designer is not just the one who knows how to use Photoshop. It's not just the one who knows how to use your Illustrator. It's not the one who knows how to use the Figma. No, it's way beyond that. Okay? That is a tool of expression. That is not who a designer really is. So who is a designer? Because if we have this understanding, we can easily begin to link the conversation. Like I said, it's a charge, okay? Please, at any point in time, you can hear me very well. Please let me know, okay? So who is a designer? First, a designer is a thinker. A designer is a thinker. A designer is the one who thinks. So it means that the designer doesn't reason like the average guy out there, like the regular guy out there. He's thinking. He's thinking. There's something when I was listening to Tola Alabi, he said he is inspired even by trees. That's a designer. So he looks at the trees and he comes out and he creates something that is amazing and fascinating, something that can change the world. Again, a designer is a problem solver. Okay, so someone thought about developing a system that can make it easy for people to ascend through different heights of a story building, okay? So someone that is on the last floor, ground floor, within minutes is in the 40th floor. A problem solver. So that one who is thinking like that may not know how to use your Photoshop, but that's a creative, that's a designer. That's a problem solver. Okay? Again, a designer is one who is empathic. True designers are very empathic. They feel. How can you solve a problem when you don't have empathy? How can you solve a problem that you cannot relate with? So that's who a designer is. A designer is a disruptor. So when I begin to share more on the preceding points, I also talk about disruption. A designer is an innovator. He is a creator of things. A designer is a communicator. A designer makes people care. And that's how I see a designer. That's who I believe a designer is. Now, when you look at these points that I've actually laid out, you can realize that it's beyond using your tool. Whereas that is cool, that's nice, but it's beyond that. Okay? So, looking at this topic, now we understand the word narrative, we understand the word design. Okay? Let's begin to look at, okay, so how can designers change the world? I want us to look at history because, like I said, our world is built on stories. Let's look at history. So many years ago, a company called Apple came into being. And one thing they introduced was minimalism. They deconstructed and decongested the way mobile phone look. They changed a lot of things. And one of the things I know that Apple did was they removed the keypad. Yes, this technology had been existing even before Apple came, but Apple changed the entire game in the mobile, in the mobile industry or mobile communication industry, right? They solved that problem. So you don't need a keypad. When the thought came up and Steve Jobs was talking about it, it doesn't make any sense, right? It made no sense. But today, You have your Android phone, you have your Samsung, you have so many other phones. There is no phone today. If we create a phone with a keypad, or if I give you a phone now with a keypad, except maybe it's the Nokia Touch, or all the phones that, that doesn't have these very new technologies. You look at it somehow, right? So Apple is one. Another story about designers who have actually changed the world and have created social impact is a man named Andrew Stanton. He's one of the greatest storytellers in Hollywood. And Andrew Stanton is the guy behind the character film known as Finding Nemo, Toy Story, and then Wall-E. The guy changed the game. And one thing Andrew Stanton was very good at is storytelling. So when you hear me say that designers, they care, right? That's one of Andrew Stanton's secrets. You need to think about the people. You need to think about who you want to change his life. Okay. And then we'll come down to Africa. Look at our producers, Tola Alabi, who is one of the big producers in Nollywood in Nigeria. The guy, he has created an amazing, portfolio, within that, circle. And you can see his movies now being featured in Netflix and the rest of them. Okay. We have Stella Tombo. Stella is the one who created the disposable masks that you see today. During the COVID-19, you see a lot of us wearing masks, but there is very fiber, is made with fiber. The fiber kind of mask was done. It was Stella that created that. It's also called the disposable anti-pollution mask. Another interesting story is the story of a guy known as Bob Switzer. Bob created something that today almost all the traffic agencies in the world use. It's called the high visibility clothing, or the reflection vest. So you see the road safety guys wear it, all the traffic guys globally, that's what they wear because it reflects in the night. And how did Bob come about this idea? It was from a place of pain. So Bob, when he was unloading crates from a vehicle, okay, what happened was, unfortunately, the crate fell and damaged Bob's eyesight. And this prohibited Bob from pursuing his dream as a medical doctor. So you see that Bob did not end up with his story. Bob used this tool to change the world. Today, everybody is using that, that is making use of that solution. All right. And you see, something about you as a designer is that you're a very different person. You have the capacity to amplify the voices of people who cannot amplify their voice. You have the capacity to change the lives of many people, right? You have the capacity with the tool that is available to you, whether you're a motion guy, whether you are an illustrator. There's this guy, Tom Hanks. I think he's on Twitter. So there's something Tom Hanks does. I don't know whether he's the one behind those illustrations. So, and I think he's an American. I can't say actually his background, but he will always create illustrative stories about the Nigerian political system. That's what Tom Hanks does. Not just the Nigerian political system. I think he gets to do that also for other African countries. And it's in protest against the bad governance, is in protest against the insensitivity to the people, and the wrong actions of these people, of these politicians. So he drew a picture where where I think either the current president of Nigeria, the guy was looking at the bank. So the bank was aflame. It was in flame. So he was just standing and watching it, right? And then he wrote IMF. See, now that's someone pushing a narrative. That's someone saying, hey, this is my thought about this. This is not cool. And right, this can change. We need this to change. The same thing with Kenya during the current protests, the same thing. You see, the Kenyan protests also have exposed the power of the people. You look at the very young, they call them the Gen Zs, and you see what they are doing. You know, a lot of them are creating, they are creating music, they are creating graphics, using this to chart the cause. What are they fighting against? The bill. They're saying we can't accept this bill. Okay, it's inhuman and we can't accept it. We put you there and we want this to change. And these guys, they stood their ground. Yes, truly, people died. Of course, there has not been any time such kind of revolution happened that people don't die from history, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in Asia, whether it, just name it. It's always been that, right? So for me, I founded a community known as Design Series. So what's the story behind Design Series? Some years back, which is I think after the COVID, I started thinking, now the world has really changed, okay? Where can I start making impact from where I am? You see, you don't need to make all the money before you can cause a change. And that I will explain in my preceding point. You don't need to make all the, you don't need to have all the resources. You don't need to have 30,000 people following you on Instagram. You don't need to have 10,000 people following you on Instagram, right? But you see, that single decision and desire and empathy in your mind about one thing that you feel sad about and you truly want to change it, it can change the world. It can even put you, you know, it can bring you to limelight. Look at Mother Teresa. She doesn't have so much. You look at the story of the woman. She didn't, there is no bank anywhere for that woman. Or maybe there is no $1 billion somewhere. But that name, that genealogy is respected globally. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. Look at Martin Luther King Jr. Okay. Yes, you could say they are not really designer, but they made impact. And that's the point. That's the core point of this conversation. Okay. If I'm no longer here, what will people remember me for? So after COVID, I started thinking. And first, Design Series actually was a virtual internship for Ink and Codes, which is a design company that I founded some years ago. So, and after the virtual internship, I'm like, oh, okay, wait. I think this can go beyond this. There was a lot of feedback, and that was how the idea of Design Series was birthed. And this year is the third edition of Design Series. And I could see people sending me cold DMs or sending me DMs, and they're saying a lot, and it's so much of a joy that this person picks just one information that can transform him to be the next Tola Alabi, right? Or to be the next Paul Rand, or to be the next Kimsi, or to be the next Lucky Ndupu, right? So now we have the understanding of the history, we have the understanding of where designer is. What do we need to do? What do we need to do from here? What steps do we need to take, right? I'm not the person who always, have conversation without action points. And that's one thing about Lucky's book. That's one thing I love about it. He will always tell you what to do after each chapter, right? He will always tell you what to do. And that's so interesting to, to see. So many books don't have, I've seen books like that, but it's not every writer that thinks that way. It's not every writer that thinks that way, right? So what are the action points? What do we do from here? First, you need to understand your strength. You don't want to go and be a Tola Alabi. See, one of the biggest problems that I see that most designers suffer from is that they want to be someone else. You are enough. You are enough. You are very unique, and people are actually waiting to hear your story. People are actually waiting to interact with your humanity that God has designed specifically for you to express. So you don't need to be another person. I made that mistake so many years ago. There is this designer that I love so much, and I kept trying to speak like him, do things like him, until I came to the realization that I'm enough, right? So you're enough. What you need to find is your strength. Where do you have your strength? Okay, what tools can you leverage the most? What skills do you have? These are questions that you need to ask. What skills do you have? What tools can you leverage the most? When you can be able to answer this question, you now need to also ask yourself, what are you passionate about? Some people are passionate about food security. There's something going on currently in Nigeria, which personally, I hope that that the people stand and do what is right for themselves, for everyone, because it's something that I believe that we have an adverse impact on the population, right? It's something that I believe we have an adverse impact on the population, which has not always been our thing, talking about the GMOs and all that. And if you go to most countries, this is banned. And so many years ago, we don't have some very terminal diseases around Africa, especially, within this geographical location or part of the world. But now you see a lot of cancers. You see, so this is an impact from what we use, from what we consume, and all that. So the next is learn from your predecessors. Who are the people that have been here? Learn from them. What can you pick from what they've done? Because nothing is new. People have done things like this. Again, collaborate and partner. Find people who can amplify your voice. Find influencers, government agencies, opinion leaders, politicians, right? I mean the good ones, okay? Civil society organization and the rest. Then you set a goal. Set a goal for yourself. Tell yourself, I'm going to start this at so time. Okay, this is how I'm going to start. Set a roadmap for yourself and start doing something. So I'm going to end with this quote. The quote says, if you are capable of writing your own story, other people will write it. Sorry, if you're not capable of writing your own story, other people will write it for you. So that's the quote. But this is my own quote. I rephrased the quote. So I said, if you're not capable of writing stories that will change the world, the wrong people will write it for the world. If you're not capable of writing stories that will change the world, the wrong people will write it for the world, and the world will buy it. So guys, thanks. And I hope that someone has picked one or two things today. I hope that this will change someone, that this is going to help someone today. Once again, thank you guys for having me. It's been an interesting time being here. So please, if you have questions, I think now could be the time. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Miracle. Thank you for your presentation. It was very insightful and informative. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. So it's question and answer time. If you have any question, please This is the forum now. Question time. You can use the group chat or you can signify so I will give you the platform. Any question? The next 15 seconds. All right. There seems to be no question from the audience. Okay. So this is what I want you to do now. I want you to make a quote or just a sentence that was outstanding for you in this meeting from the 2 sessions. Any comments or anything at all that was outstanding for you? Please, can we have it on the group chat? Okay. All right. All right. All right. Mr. Michael, are you there, sir?
Yes, please, I'm here, yes.
All right. There is a question that, do you think AI can replace the job of a designer?
So I think that we are now in what I call the knowledge age. I don't think that AI is going to replace the job of a designer. If the designer is a thinker, right? Because basically AI works with human instructions. So what I advise designers to do, if you listened yesterday to TA's conversation on session, Tola, you hear him talk about his current approach to design, which is learning how to use AI. So what you should do is just flow with the, and even move ahead innovations. So that's what I think. I don't think the people who AIs are going to replace are people who are not learning, people who are comfortable with where they have always been. So the world will come and move and pass them by. There's no two ways about it, right? So that's my thought. So designers will always be here.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Let me see if there's any other question. Okay, no question. All right, sir. We just want you to give your last, maybe an advice or something as a parting words to everyone, maybe an advice or anything. We can't hear you, sir.
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted. So I think I will start with the book. I love the insights drawn from the book by Kim. I love how she was very detailed with her take away from the book. So, and I really would advise every young designer who is here, who is starting out. You see, there is a lot of the design phase, or the phases of design is actually 3. when you start out, you're very passionate. From passion to you discovering that this is a purpose and living the purpose, to it being a calling, it is the highest level of the design journey, right? So, so I think that you need to, whoever that is a designer here needs to be very hungry for information. Please learn. Now, yesterday you can see the difference between learning and education. Learning is an everyday journey. Learn from materials like this. Pick this book, buy it, keep it in your library. Beyond just buying, please be someone who implements what you have learned. Okay. When I started design, okay, let me just share this. When I started design, when I delved into brand identity, currently writing a book, which is practically my story, my journey over the years. When I delved into brand identity, if you open my book, my phone, because I will read into sleep. So when you open my phone, you're going to see like 50 to 100 tabs of various topics. Most times I would trail out of even the design, industry. So what am I doing? I was trying to get myself equipped. So keep learning, be in the right circles. Okay, be in the right circles. Don't be comfortable, but also don't be too much in a haste. There is a process that must happen for every designer that is starting out. You can't jump it. You can't jump it. There are periods where I wanted to quit. So if you've not gotten to that point, right, and crossed it, then so that's it. So be in the right circles. Make sure that you're learning. Be an avid reader. Be crazy for knowledge. Okay, be crazy for knowledge, and just know that design has always worked for a lot of people who believed in it. So it's worked for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, sir. I need to say that there were so much take home. There's a part where he said the world today is built on stories. That was also outstanding. And then we are getting to learn that a designer is an innovator, is a communicator, and is also somebody that cares. So if you don't mind, can I ask just a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
All right, sir. You made mention of us learning from our predecessors. So, yes, I want to know, what is there a difference between learning from the predecessors and then also learning from, let me call it, people use AI now to learn what to do. Some people use Google Plus. What is really the difference? Because people are relying more. It's more like, instead of you asking a profession or something, people prefer to ask online. That is the point I'm trying to make.
Yes, I get you. So
yes,
you
sir.
see, AI is a machine. Its intelligence grows per time, right? According to the level of information that is infused, the amount of data that it captures. It's different thing from a human being who has gone through challenges. So that person that you look up to as a mentor or an inspiration, he has a story. AI cannot capture my story. My story is unique to me. The essence of you having these people that have gone these pathways around is, by the time I listen to TA's story, I listen to Kim's story, I listen to Lucky's story, I listen to York's story, I listen to Victor Fatomi's story. By the time I'm done, I listen to Blessana Bank's story. See, all these people, if you're able to capture these stories, I think there's a part of the scripture that said where there is multitude of counsel, right? It's difficult for you to strain. Now, when you add the information from the AI, that becomes a larger repository of information and knowledge for you. But please, you cannot equate the knowledge and the experiences, the personal and individual experiences of people with AI. I don't know whether it's going to happen tomorrow. Well, a lot is changing. As it is now, we can wake up to any innovation. But for today, where we are right now, I believe that our stories are unique. You need to find those unique stories. There are things that has happened to me in my journey working with clients over the years that is very, very particular with me. Sometimes you could go through 10 designers before you hear such stories. It's not even the same with most of them, but it could be similar. But there are very unique ones. When I share my pains over the years, it is easier for the next young designer not to go through that pathway, because that's the essence. The idea is that you climb on the back of these people, and so you can rise higher. So that's my thought, right? So it's just a totally different. There are two different parts from my understanding, anyways. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sorry.
sir.
Okay.
Joshua.
I was trying to find Joshua. My apologies. I was trying to find your name.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
great.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the
You're
response
welcome.
to the presentation. All right, guys, please check the group chat. Sir Lucky just posted, is going to be hosting a program. What is the name now? Emerge. So the flyer has been posted on the group chat. It's going to be hosted by him. Please, let's do where to engage and then register for the program. From what you have seen from his presentation, you can tell that it's going to be a massive one. So please, let's get ourselves registered for the program. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Mr. Miracle. We are happy to have you.
You're welcome.
All right.
It was my pleasure being here.